Memorize and take orders, that is what we have in place, but what if that's not a route to self-autonomy, but instead a taught submission to authority?
Yo, go clean the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
Haha, schmuck.
What did you say?
Go clean the bathroom.
Aye, aye, Captain.
But my system is based around self-correcting mental models which could destroy a whole society, since when everyone is a free thinker, no one is a basic producer. This in turn leads to a crumbling of the status quo. And chances are it very well could lead to a significant restructuring of society, but you'll come to find out that might not be so bad. Class, the year was 2050 when we finally used our brains. We realized that spending trillions of dollars on killing people wasn't the best use of our money. And by some miracle, we solved all the major world problems within half a decade. But since you all went through the new education system, that's a no-brainer. Well, obviously we can't throw out everything such as basic math and language, but outside of that, there's really not much to salvage because who cares about the powerhouse of the cell when the powerhouse of the soul isn't intact? I hate my life. I'm so depressed.
Damn, bro, that's crazy. You should have focused more during calculus.
So of course we have to keep in mind that all parents do damage to their children's psyche, and this needs to be repaired. This concept will probably scare people a bit because it sounds like authoritarian overreach, but hear me out.
Shame on you for failing your test. You're grounded.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Good grades are how I'll become loved. It all depends on that condition.
So starting with thought systems, the difference between someone who makes it in all aspects and someone who doesn't is the quality of their thoughts. So the first thing of importance is to have a counter to delusional thinking, which means we need to teach how to compare and contrast to a degree without taking bias into frame. For example, most forms of discrimination are based on bias. One did something bad, so they all must be, which leads us to the removal of black and white thinking. There's not a single use case for black and white thinking outside of quick reaction survival type situations, which if you guys haven't noticed, we don't have those very much anymore. Oh no, what do I do? Fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or... Oh, what do I do? Oh, wait, I'm discriminating against this bull right now, aren't I? But how do we think outside of our own frame of reference? Well, it's simple. Whenever there's a point of conflict in thought internally, also known as cognitive dissonance, look at yourself in the third person. Of course, you might struggle to find information outside of yourself, but often it's hard to see solutions to your own conundrums from a first person point of view. Damn, bro, I can't do anything with my life. I don't know why. Whoa. Oh, now it makes sense. All the things of easiest access to me are all intoxicating distractions. No wonder I don't get anything done. Now how about external conflict to someone else? Don't look at how you came to your conclusion. Attempt to find out their chain of thought that led them to their conclusion, since once you know where they come from, you can lead them to your path of thought easier, through understanding where their misstep was, or possibly your own. But this of course needs social serious tact, since this leads us to emotional control. When people get overly emotional, they get delusional. Sorry folks, but it's true. And if that statement got you upset, it's kind of funny, since when someone's emotionally charged in a negative direction, they will tune out everything, aka stonewalling, which is a major component that leads to divorce. But without emotions, life is dull, so I believe positive emotions are valid as long as they aren't based in evil.
I'm so happy that we decided to pay him unlivable wages so I can finally get my second yacht.
Now, I'm not saying you should become a robot. Far from that, but more so when it comes to hard truths and sensitive topics, emotions lead to delusion and misguidance. I mean, remember, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them that they've been fooled. The inability to admit wrong ultimately leads to delusion and oftentimes leads to destruction. But why won't someone admit wrong? Well, this leads us into self-perception systems. The world is an inflow through your own lens of self-perception, but I'll let you in on a secret. That lens is nothing but a greater or lesser version of delusion. No one is free from false perception. As long as there's a self, there's delusion. If we were to remove that lens of delusions from everyone, we wouldn't exist as individuals anymore since we would all be the same. Life is a game of illusion. Yo, you are delusional.
I mean, so are you.
Damn right. Which leads us to the ego, but for simplicity we will say the ego is the false self. So when you are on the wrong on something, it is an attack on multiple fronts: your intelligence, your craving for approval, and depending on what you are validated for as a kid, this can be an attack on your perception of safety. If you are made to feel that your parents' approval requires good grades, then your intelligence will be what will keep you accepted and loved. What temp does water boil at?
It's 202 degrees.
Actually, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Okay, bud. Which is why it's important to teach proper reactions to unknown input. What do I mean by this? If someone says something to you and it sounds rude, don't ever take it that way. Never assume negative input, since most of the time there's two situations. One, the person says something harsh because they want to help you, or two, they say it because they aren't happy with themselves. And both of these options are either in love or self-hate, which the one in love is to help you, and the one in self-hate is to help the other person feel better about themselves. So there should be this realization that it's not about you, so there's no need to be hurt by it. But to be reactive is to be insecure and fearful fearful, which has no use. What is that phone? You must be poor or something, loser.
Okay,
Hey, get back here, you loser. I'm so much better than you. Also, let's not forget, confidence isn't walking into a room thinking you're better than everyone, it's not caring if you are. Which is why it's important to teach about self-acceptance, since until you accept yourself as is, you can't move on, since without coming to terms with something, it can't be fixed. Look at all these losers, they have no idea I spent 12 grand on this outfit. The ability to observe what's self-destructive and to critically think about a solution to the internal issue is very important, since I see a lot of addicts out there and it's really quite simple to kick. For example, you're addicted to vapes, well simply don't buy one. And I know I'll hear, it's not that easy. Well, it is. Drive a different route if there's an irresistible trigger such as a vape shop on your regular commute. I mean, you might even say, oh, my friends offer me a hit. Well, you might as well make it firm with them not to offer it to you and that you're quitting. And if they don't listen, then they really don't have your best interest in mind now, do they? What's up, Gerald?
Yeah, what about the addictions related to the phone? It's always on you.
Well, there's a couple of options. Don't bring it with you to places where you tend to abuse it.
But I need it.
Thor?
My Snapchat streaks?
So you got psychologically hijacked to believe some number of zero value on a screen is important.
Well, if I end it, it'll hurt my friends' feelings and then maybe they won't want to be my friend anymore.
Sounds like quite the friendship you got there. And we can't forget about the removal of greed. The other day I heard about someone losing their $50,000 earrings, and the only thing I could think of was that is extremely selfish and borderline evil to buy. And I mean, just think about how pointless it is when there's so much suffering on this planet that could be reduced with that money. I mean, if it was used something beyond vanity, the light you could spread is insane, but instead all these people do is make their ears sparkle. Hey, check out this 50K chain I bought.
damn, bro. That fit goes so hard. Who cares about the starving children of the world when you got that drip?
Also, the ability to control the internal workings of the mind is important, since this is really where people struggle to change, since I don't need to explain to you that delayed gratification will lead to a better life than instant gratification. You already know this, but yet we fall in the moment often. But let me explain this to you in a different way. What if every bad decision is simply you hooking onto a thought and following it down a path of self-destruction? This is often known as the path of least resistance, meaning the thought of instant gratifications are stronger, which is why you have to learn to let thoughts pass by, which is the equivalent of weakening the pathway. Your common thought patterns and actions are the result of your attention. I must resist the urge to check it and let it pass by. Okay, back to work. Now how about physical health? With the average lifespan lowering, it's a sign of societal ills. And what are these ills? Unhealthy food, lack of understanding of basic nutrition, and very little exercise. And I'm not going to do a deep dive on this, but I'll do a comparison since it's not that complicated. So you have two people, one who eats fast food all the time and doesn't move off the couch much, and you have another who cooks their own meals with basic ingredients and lifts weights. I'm not going to tell you which one's right, but which one of these two do you think is happy to look in the mirror? Before I hit the last one, I'd like to say these are all tools to handle the human condition, which, let's be honest, wouldn't it be great to have a tool set for life rather than a faint memory of trigonometry? And finally, we have financial skills. These are very important, but I'm not going to cover them here since you can just watch this video right here.